Warning: the following episode of Orsini's Uncensored Mind contains explicit language and adult content. The thoughts and opinions stated on the show are reflective of AJ Orsini and his guests exclusively. But seriously, guys, the show's called Uncensored. If you got a problem with bad language, I really don't give a shit.
Ha 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 ha! You're listening to the King of New York, EC Negro, El Rey, all day, and I'm here hanging with my main man, AJ Orsini, Orsini's Uncensored Mind. Ha 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 ha!
Welcome to Orsini's Uncensored Mind, and now your host, AJ Orsini.
How the hell is everybody out there? This is your boy, your main man, your host of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. This is AJ Orsini, and of course, I'm here tonight to bequeath on to all of you episode 53. Now, I don't know if you can hear right now, but I am a bit under the weather. That's right, your boy is fighting what I can only assume is some sort of super virus, because I don't get sick. This is a scientific fact. AJ Orsini does not get sick, literally ever. Ever. But today, actually since yesterday, I have been feeling no bueno. I have got a little bit of a cough and tickle. I don't know why. Every time I describe that, I feel like I have to do it with an accent, because for some reason, with an accent, it just sounds better. A little bit of a cough and tickle. I've got something going on over here, and it's attacking the nasals. So if I come off a little yucky on the audio tonight, it's not the audio this time. It's your boy who's fighting through the pain here. He's taped up and he's ready to go. He's going to get through this. The commitment continues. We're doing this week by week, folks. But episode 53 is here. And I always tell you guys every single time that there's so much to talk about. But we're just going to kick this shit off. Let's just really get into this. Let's really divulge into this.
Oh man, that's deep.
What in the fuck is he doing?
What the fuck is going on in here on this day?
What the fuck is going on? We're going to do ourselves a what the fuck segment right here, right off the bat, because I got to tell you, I had a segment in mind. For about 2 days, I had a segment in mind, okay? And within the hour, shit has changed up. I saw something on the television. Usually I have to do like an article thing, but this time I saw it on the television. If you guys have not seen this, this is the greatest thing ever of all time. There's so many things to unpack here. So if you watch TV at all, at some point in time, you've run into truth.com commercials, okay? This is the company that's like anti-smoking, and they're trying to get people to stop smoking, and they have a lot of odd tricks when they do that. All right, they go through all kinds of lengths to get you to stop smoking, most of which is they don't necessarily have to tell the complete 100% truth. These guys are really aggressive when it comes to trying to get you guys to stop smoking. They show the people with no throat, and they really try to go on your heartstrings here. They can't just tell you, hey guys, smoking will kill you, because apparently that's not enough. I know it wasn't enough for me. I know it's hard to think about it, folks, but your boy AJ was at one point a pretty full-time, almost pack-a-day smoker. But that was many moons ago. As a matter of fact, this past May of 2018 was my 10th year of retirement from the smoke game. But even then, like, I did it on my own reconnaissance. I decided on my own that I was going to stop, okay? I didn't need truth.com to come in here and make me feel like an asshole in order for me to decide smoking was probably going to do more damage than good. However, that does not stop truth.com from getting weirder and weirder and weirder, and now I feel they have come up with their weirdest and most disgusting commercial yet. I've never been a fan of their commercials, but this one is the worst. And by worst, I mean the best, because it is hilarious. I'm actually going to play the audio for you here. You've got to, if you can, go to YouTube. It's called Twinkle Twinkle Little Dick by Truth. So go to YouTube, look at the video. It's a character video. You've got to see this. I'm going to play the audio for you here right now because I need to comment on this. You guys got to listen to this. All right, here we go. Here.
Twinkle, twinkle, little dick, you want to grow, but you're so sick. Thanks to smoking, plaque builds up, meaning you can't get it up.
Jesus.
Twinkle, twinkle, little dick, because of Sig, Steve stole your chick.
Steve stole.
Twinkle, twinkle, droopy dick, you used to get up really quick, but arteries clog when you smoke, which makes your dick be kinda broke. Twinkle, twinkle, droopy dick, thanks to Sigs, he hooked up with Rick.
Oh my God.
Twinkle, twinkle, poor sad dick, you're like a candle without a wick. Now you're soft and kinda lame, and smoking is what is to blame. Twinkle, twinkle, little dick, too bad you had to.
Oh, they got cut off there at the end. But you guys get the gist of that. Okay, so many things to unpack there. First of all, every time they made a dick joke, the dicks would droop or they would react to the description. So it's like sad dicks would be sad. And then Steve stole his girl, and I guess smoking also makes you gay because he hooked up with Rick for some reason. Oh my God, so much there. Okay, first of all, it's not just the message, because the message is clear. They're trying to get you to stop smoking, okay? And since telling you that smoking kills you is not enough, they've decided to take other avenues to do that. And the avenue they've taken this way is they're attacking the male ego here. They're saying, hey guys, if you smoke, you will not be able to achieve erection, which for the record is categorically incorrect. Now, I'm sure there are cases where it's true, where smoking would clog up the artery, just as described. Smoking will clog up the artery. But that is a very rare case. I myself, I just told you, I was a full-time smoker. I pretty much smoked from 14 or 15 till about 26 nonstop. And then it came to an end. And then it went away, and I wasn't smoking anymore. And during the entire time I was smoking, never once was I unable to perform in any way. I smoked before a fuck. I smoked after a fuck. There were a few occasions I fucked during a fuck. This happened. Okay? This is just amazing. What tops it all off is that you guys hear the content of this commercial. You guys see how aggressive this shit is. I go into the comments of the video because I saw it randomly on some channel. I don't even know what channel it was. But it was like basic cable, like USA or something like that. As a matter of fact, it might have been in between SmackDown. Might have been. And so I'm looking at, because Truth.com commercials air everywhere. Audio ones are air on the radio, all kinds of shit. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty specific ad campaign. Right? I mean, they're talking about soft dicks. They have pictures of dicks in the commercial. And I'm reading the comments. People are like, this shit just played right here. This played on Nickelodeon Splat last night, and it shocked the hell out of me. This shit played on Nickelodeon. The dick commercial played on Nickelodeon. First of all, not first of all. I already said my first of all. But how did this commercial not include Joey Ryan in some way? This is a missed opportunity. You are talking about the dick spokesman. That's the guy. That's the guy. And people will, naturally, the person stealing your girl is black. Yeah, for some reason, Steve was a black guy. Well, that's for some reason. It's pretty well-to-do guy. But this commercial is hilarious. Okay? What was the thing about hooking up with Rick all of a sudden? Oh, like, does smoking turn you gay? I didn't realize that. I haven't had any gay tendencies. I'm just saying. This is news to me. News. Look at here. Love how YouTubers get demonetized for cussing or having suggestive themes, but ads can do both at the same time and be declared as okay. There's other stuff here, but that's pretty much another point here too. This thing is all over YouTube. This thing is all over the place. They were able to get this thing on a lot of places, and not one person seems to be worried about the content matter at all. It does say a lot about, this is what happens when you smoke, but it doesn't feel like a smoke commercial at all. At all. Jesus Christ. Droopy dicks. This is what cigarettes get you, folks. Droopy dicks. That's crazy. That is crazy. That was definitely a what the fuck moment for me. Oh my God. The poor children. Everybody was like, well, the kids are going to start seeing this all the way to the... Can you imagine? I can't wait to see if my kid... Because my kid was sitting there watching it. Can't wait to see if my kid goes to school singing about droopy dicks. That's not going to be good. That's a parent-teacher conference I am not looking forward to at all. At all. Whatsoever. Ugh. My God. Speaking of which, my son's here right now. Chilling on the iPad. Hey, kid. Oblivious. No idea what's going on. We're going to be setting his ass up for soccer soon. My first sport as a dad. It's going to be good. I'm going to enjoy it. We're setting his ass up for soccer. We're going to get his ass out there doing stuff. It's going to be fun. So that should be a lot of fun. You know what hasn't been a lot of fun here at the House of O? A big announcement was made, and it made all of us sad. All of us sad. And it's a pro wrestling announcement that the man himself, Broken Woken version 1, Matt Hardy, master of Mattitude, has declared his retirement. Official word would be an injury. He wasn't injured. It's just a culmination of a lot of things all happening at once. The discs in his back not cooperating, slipping into other places. It's just his health is not where it needs to be, and he has announced his retirement. Matt Hardy is officially gone from the wrestling world. As a performer, from what I understand, he's still working as an agent behind the scenes, which would be great. If they had him working on character development and storyline stuff, and that would be great. I don't need him working with the in-ring stuff. I just need some of these guys to sit back with him and just pick that brain of his. He has done so much on a creative level, and I hope they really utilize him for all of his strength in that department. I love Matt Hardy being in the back, but it is a sad day. And it makes the situation a little bit more confusing for me, see, because I'm a big TLC guy. I was a big TLC fan back in the day. I thought those matches was just the shit. And you look at the 6 guys, Bubba Ray, Devon, Edge, Christian, Matt, Jeff. If you were to tell me that the last man standing, any of those fucking guys, would be Jeff Hardy, I would call you fucking crazy. I would have thought for sure Jeff Hardy would have been the first one on his ass because of that style, that crash and burn style. I would have thought for sure he would have been first, but he was last. And I know people are saying, well, Bully Ray's still wrestling. He wrestles sporadically, yes, but even he admits he's not a full-time guy. He enjoys taking his shows here and there, and I know he's been around doing the Bully Ray thing for a little bit, and that's cool. He's a great performer. He had a little bit of a health scare recently, too, but he's back in there doing his thing. But we're talking about full scale, on the road, just all the time working. The last guy left is Jeff fucking Hardy, and that's amazing to me. I don't know how much longer he can go. He looks broken, no pun intended, every single time he steps into the ring. Hell in a Cell was this Sunday. He did the injury angle. He's going to be gone for a little bit. I didn't want to get into Hell in a Cell. There's a lot of stuff going on. Hell in a Cell was hit or miss with me. It was an all right show. It got me through the night, I guess. It satiated my need. It got me my wrestling fix, but it wasn't exactly a great show. First of which was that Randy Orton Jeff Hardy Hell in a Cell match. We'll get back to Matt Hardy in a second. I just wanted to point out, since we're talking about Jeff, that frog splash spot, the hanging off the cell and doing the swinging and then landing on this. Listen, I said this on the previous show when we were talking about Hell in a Cell and burning this Hell in a Cell match for zero reason. I still feel that way. That was a waste of a Hell in a Cell. There was a lot of cool shit that happened in that match. But you kind of had that sense in your gut that this man was going to do something ridiculous. And there it was, the most ridiculous fucking Hell in a Cell spot I've ever seen. Who the fuck would lay there and just watch this guy do this all fucking day? Climb the ladder, set up the ladder, grab the cage, walk ceiling, crawl over, swing do-si-do, and what a fucking moron. That was the dumbest fucking thing I had ever seen. And it would have been dumber had Randy literally sat there and taken the spot. It made more sense for him to move. Why the fuck would he sit there all day and just wait for this poor soul to just frog splash him from the top of the cell? Who fucking knows? And you can tell that because there was a cell match yet to come that was going to include some on top of the cell stuff and multiple people, that Jeff Hardy, I know for a fact Jeff Hardy wanted to come off. I know for a fact. That's not even an opinion, that's a fact. He's been talking about it for years. He wanted to create memories in that cell. If that was the closest they could give him, fine. But that spot was still stupid. I hated that spot. I hated that finish. I get it, the injury angle. It's a Hell in a Cell. You can find a different way to injure somebody. That was just stupid and ridiculous. But speaking of stupid and ridiculous, a lot of people were very, very, very concerned whether or not Matt Hardy was going to be able to do the broken gimmick the way that he normally did it. Hindsight now that it's over, they did not let him do it the way that he normally did it, so it was less effective. But having said that, the Woken gimmick, not that bad. Not that bad in WWE. I didn't think so. People got into it. He was still able to get the crowd behind him. He did get one of those matches at the Hardy compound in there, main event of Raw. He was able to pull that off. That's the one thing I never thought I'd see in the WWE, one of those matches. But he did, and he had a hell of a run. He had the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal win. And if you take his career from top to bottom, I mean, he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer, I would think. Guaranteed, no doubt about it, no questions asked. Does he have to go in here with his brother? Would you consider his singles career Hall of Fame? Bless you. My son just sneezed. I don't know. That could be up for debate. You know, he's got the ACW title under his belt, U.S. title, multiple tag titles. But, again, that's what the Hardys. Jeff alone might be a Hall of Famer, Matt. I don't know. I think they'd have to go in as a team for Matt to get it. I'm not entirely sure. But Matt's on his way out, and congratulations to him. Now he's got to deal with Reby every day. So, God bless you, sir, for your life choices. So, good luck with that. Hot as hell, man. But Jesus Christ. I live with a Spanish woman myself, so I know the deal. Anywho, there's a buddy who comes on this show, Matty Ming, and he is a very outlandish speaker, as you all know. Now, this man is a Cowboy fan. I am a New York Giant fan. Both of us are from New York, but he's a Cowboy fan. And for those of you who don't follow football, this past week, the Giants and the Cowboys have their usual opening week game, usually week 1, 2, or 3. It usually tends to happen that way, where they get like an early game in. And, of course, the Cowboys won, and Matty Ming won't shut the hell up. So I wanted to say officially on the show, since he's been on the show a few times, and you guys seem to enjoy Matty Ming on the show, I would like to say for the record, fuck the Dallas Cowboys. They got a win, but it's week 2. That's fine. That's usually when the Cowboys fans tend to celebrate the most, mediocrity wins. Those average every other day wins. They'll celebrate those. Because we all know they can't celebrate shit in January. That's when they're all busy fishing and watching football on TV. So, congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys, but they can go fuck themselves. Just wanted to throw that in there. Since it's my damn show and I've got the platform, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Go fuck yourselves. Oh, boy, a lot of shit going on. Aiden English just turned heel on Rusev Day. That sucks. Well, no, it doesn't really suck, but, what do you do with Aiden English aside from that? What do you do? What do you use Aiden English for? He's already proven on his own. People they're not really that behind it. I mean, he finally had a winning gimmick here. Hype man for Rusev Day? Come on. And then, of course, what's super selfish about the whole thing? Why would he turn on Rusev Day? That's fucked up. You couldn't pick another day? An average run-of-the-mill day? You had to turn on him on Rusev Day? That's messed up. But it's so funny because everyone says it was a heel turn. Oh, Aiden English turned heel. I thought Rusev and Rusev Day were already heels. Weren't they getting booed already? Did he turn double heel? Is he heel? Like, is he super heel? He's the heel to the heels. He can't even look at baby faces. That's not even on his agenda. He's a heel to the heels. He's a bad guy for bad guys. He's a double heel here. Aiden English is. They were already fucking heels. Yeah, I know they got positive reactions, but they were already heels, man. I don't know. Aiden English, man. What are we going to do with Aiden English, man? What are we going to do, guys? You guys let me know. What do you do with Aiden? You guys fill me in. You know, what do you think we should do with Aiden English over here? What's next for him? Obviously, we'll feud him up with Rusev for a little bit, where he comes out on the losing end. But where do we go with Aiden English? Jeez. Becky Lynch won the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship. She won it at Hell in a Cell. She'll be defending it again at the Super Show. And God knows what's going to happen at Evolution. And believe me, I have got a lot to say about that shit. A lot to say about that shit. But Becky Lynch, your WWE Women's SmackDown Champion. Becky Lynch. And she's killing it with the promos, bro. She is murdering it with the promos. Absolutely killing it. Couldn't be more happy for this lady at all. So many WWE things to talk about, but I have been asked on multiple occasions, AJ, dude, come on. You're a former indie guy. You don't do nearly enough indies. That's what I keep being told over and over and over and over. You don't do nearly enough indies, bro. You got to start talking more independent wrestling. And I gave the reason why I don't. The reason why I don't do indies is because it's very, very hard to keep track of all the different things that happens in independent wrestling, because everything is so fluid. Everything moves around so goddamn much that I'm not able to really focus on it and keep track of it like WWE. Well, something has come up recently where it's giving me an excellent chance to talk about some independent wrestling, and one of the companies that I would like to talk about, I'm going to do it right now. No, this is not a Weekend Warrior situation. That's pretty much done and over with, because it's too much of a headache to do that. So I'm just going to speak on it casually, just randomly as fuck. There is a company, again, here in the East Coast, but not in New York. It's over in Rhode Island. And actually, it was in Rhode Island. I think they're traveling around a little bit more now. As a matter of fact, the show I'm going to tell you about is at 26 Millbury Street, Worcester, Massachusetts. That's zip 01610 for you GPS people here. It's held over at the Electric Haze. Beyond Wrestling will be providing their presentation of Please Come Back. That's the name of the show. Please Come Back. It is a 5 p.m. for VIP anyway. VIP 5 p.m. start time and 5:30 GA. Those will be the doors. And, of course, bell time 6 p.m. It is Sunday, September 30th. Unfortunately, I will be having family over my house that weekend, so I will not be able to attend. I would have. If I didn't have family coming, I actually would have broken my no indie streak and attended this, because there's a lot going on in this show. Now, let's talk a little bit real quick about Beyond Wrestling. They've been around for a while now, and they have literally scratched and crawled to become the company they are right now. They are a force to be reckoned with in the New England area. They've been one of the top feds, if not the top feds, up in that area. And they've discovered a lot of talent up there, a lot of talent. And one of which, obviously, is my homeboys, Santana Ortiz, LAX. They were EYFBO for so long, and they really, really got known. They really made their presence felt in this industry by performing at Beyond Wrestling. I mean, they started out with folding chairs with these guys and became that to their main events. And that's hard work and perseverance. So Beyond Wrestling has always had a great eye for talent, and their presentation coming up on September 30th is going to be awesome, no doubt. They always have great shows, great talent, great timing. I mean, just everything about the presentation is great with Beyond Wrestling. You can check them out by going to beyondwrestlingonline.com, and you can check out any upcoming shows, tickets, and any information you want on the company. Obviously, YouTube's a big source for their match content. You can look at their videos and stuff and decide all on your own whether or not you want to go beyond with Beyond Wrestling. Now, their presentation on September 30th. Let's get through the card real quick, because there's one match in particular I absolutely need to talk about. Of course, we've got Wheeler Yuta versus Jackson Stone, Tracy Williams versus Travis Huckabee, Orange Cassidy versus Marco Stunt, Lufisto versus Trixie Tash. Trixie always makes me, that's one of those mouthfuls there. Hey, yo. Josh Briggs versus Kirk Stallion, John Silver, of course, number one, versus Chris Statlander. Joey Janela, the bad boy, versus Tony Deppen, Doom Patrol, which is Chris Dickinson and Jaka, versus Teddy Good and Devil's Reject. And for my money, I don't know if it's going to be the main event, but god damn it, it should really be the main event, is the match I'm here to talk about. It is a 4-team, 4-way match with with some very important people to my life. Not just friends of mine, but some very important people to my life. I will start with team number 1, which I do not know much about because I have never had a chance to work with them. Those are the Amazing Graysons. Very athletic guys. I've seen some of their matches. They're very, very, very good. Very good. Very young, but very, very, very good. And I know they're going to bring the competition on this particular matchup. But the other 3 teams I know far too much about. Team number 2 would be EYFBO. They're still listed as EYFBO here because, they've always done that. But that's LAX, Santana, and Ortiz. Not much needs to be said about them. Current Impact World Tag Team Champions. My money, one of the best tag teams on the planet, if not the best. The only other team that I think would give them a problem would be team number 3 in this matchup, and that's your boys. The guys I just spoke to not too long ago. That's the Absolute Chris Cage and the Superstar Whiplash. They gave you the tease right here on the show. They broke breaking news if these guys would be getting their opportunity at Beyond Wrestling very soon. They did not lie. They are telling the truth, and it's right here. The Zoltan is in the house in Worcester, Massachusetts, Beyond Wrestling. That's going to be dope. The rivalry renewed, LAX and the Zoltan. And then there's team number 4. Team number 4 is a sleeper. You've got to keep your eyes on these kids because, quite frankly, I think they're not even, I say kids, but they're grown men now, in my opinion. I met them when they were kids. All right, team number 4 is Project Generation. That's Evander James and the superhero Monty Kia, or Monty. And I got to tell you something. Not to divulge too deeply into behind-the-scenes stuff, but I'll tell you this. Monty and Evander James are 2 people that I met a very, very long time ago. So far back, in fact, they didn't have any training when I met them. As a matter of fact, one of the first 2 people that they trained with in this business was me. And we used to literally train. We'd be in the ring doing a bunch of different things. I'd show them this, I'll show them that. We'd do bump drills. We would do, it was your usual everyday wrestling school training shit. And at one point, there was a tease of me being a tag partner of Monty, and then at one point, a tease of me being a tag partner of Evander. And we had a very good friendship way, way long time ago, and we still are friends. But we were very close years and years ago. And to see what they've become now, to know how hard it was for them to get rolls and to get bumps, and to see them now just be 2 of the best performers in New York right now, and forming this team. And a little side note, Project Generation was actually the name of a stable that we were supposed to be a part of. Myself, Monty, Evander James, and a few other members. I'm not going to shout them out now because I don't know if they're okay with me giving that information out. But it was a stable of about 4 or 5 people. And that was the plan, and then politics took place here and there, and we weren't able to do it in different places, and it kind of fizzled out. But I'm glad that the name never really went away because now here they are as a team, and they're using the name as kind of an homage, so that's pretty cool. So Monty and Evander James, I'm telling you, super athletic guys, great storytellers, and it's going to be that whole 4-way, LAX, Project Generation, Zoltan, Amazing Graysons. That, for me, is worth the price of admission, folks. If you want to see great wrestling, that is the place to go. I am dropping this on Wednesday, the 19th of September. And yesterday, a trailer dropped for Captain Marvel, one of the most anticipated films in the world besides the upcoming Avengers sequel. The trailer dropped for it. Going to be honest with you, I don't want to be called a sexist pig. I don't want to be called a sexist pig here, but I wasn't that enthralled with it. I didn't think it was bad. I think it was cool. It showed a lot of very interesting things, but I didn't walk away from that trailer going, oh, fuck, yes, I need to see this film. I'm going to see it. And again, it wasn't bad, but that Captain Marvel trailer, it didn't do a whole lot for me. Maybe because I know some of the story already, and I know what's going to happen, and I've read the comic, and I know where this is headed, or where it should be headed, I should say. Because who knows what kind of liberties they've taken. So the trailer dropped. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on YouTube. I mean, it opens up with a Blockbuster Video cameo. I mean, that's them just teasing to you guys, hey, look it, man, we're taking a trip down memory lane here. We're going back a few decades, and that's fine. That's cool, whatever. Wow, I just said a few decades. and I'm describing the 90s. Holy shit. Holy shit. That's a moment right there, folks. Woof. Oh, my God. I was born in 83, so my teen years and everything existed in the 90s and early 2000s. And I just said decades. I'm in 2018. We'll be in 2019 next year. Approaching 2020 very fast. The 90s was a long time ago, folks. Oh, my God. That hurt my chest when I said that just now. A few decades ago. Oh, CGI Sam Jackson, by the way, is going to be really cool. They did it for Michael Douglas. They could do it for Sam Jackson. Problem is they're going to have to do it for him literally the whole fucking match. And the whole match. The whole movie. He looked like a regular S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Is that what the gimmick is in this? He's just old Nick Fury. He's not director of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. He's just regular old Agent Fury. Oh, wow. Agent Fury. That sounds pretty cool. He was just a regular old Agent Fury in this movie. And so you can catch the trailer on that now. That's out for Captain Marvel. There was some other comic book news that came out that I really didn't touch on. The Henry Cavill thing and stepping away as Superman and Ben Affleck and all this different stuff. And the DCEU is now in disarray and in shambles and all this other stuff. Listen, that I don't think that's entirely the fault of the movie company. I really don't. I don't know why he decided not to be Superman anymore, and that's why I didn't comment on this, because I have no dog in the fight here. I'm a Marvel guy. I love the Marvel universe. I'll watch the DC movies, but it's not like I'm clamoring for these guys to be these characters, or it's not like Chris Evans saying, "Hi, I'm done being Captain America," which he is going to be done after this film. But at least he braced before. It wasn't like some random Wednesday announcement where he was just like, "Oh, I'm not doing this anymore. Bye." Ripping the hearts out of fans all around the world here, But I said, and I made a comment on Facebook. I said I didn't really think he was that popular to begin with. I thought you guys were pretty much downplaying him, and then I got the whole, well, he wasn't that bad routine. That was on social media. It's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad a guy. He did okay. He was better than Brandon Roth. Yeah, well, everyone's better than Brandon Roth at literally everything in life. Brandon Roth is lucky to be alive. We're lucky he hasn't forgotten how to breathe or eat along the way. So that's a very low bar, folks, if that's where you're headed with that. But then Ben Affleck and Batman and I don't know. You guys have a lot of shit to figure out over here, man. We got our own problems over here too, dude. Venom's not looking that great right now. I know a lot of people are hyped. I'm not one of them. I'm looking, and this is kind of fucked up for me because I love Tom Hardy. I love Venom. I'm starting to think Tom Hardy and Venom shouldn't be together. I'm not entirely sure. I'll see the movie and reserve my judgment, but I'm nervous as fuck. I'm more scared for that movie than Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel is going to deliver, but I don't know if Venom's going to deliver. I haven't seen anything yet at all that makes me say, oh, shit, this is going to be great. I think I'll feel better once I get an idea of what they're doing with Carnage, but now I'm hearing Carnage is not the main villain in this film, that we're going to be building toward Carnage, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Because how do they even know we're going to be doing this again? How many projects have they shelved with the idea that we're going to build toward this project? Hello, Inhumans. So I don't want to hear we're building. You really should have left. You should have led with your best first foot here. We should have gotten Carnage in the first film. Hook me in before you start dragging me along here. Jesus Christ. I'm not coming off angry. I'm not. I'm just voicing some serious fucking concerns here. All right, a lot of stuff going on in the comic world, apparently. A lot of stuff going on. There's been some other situations going on that, again, I haven't really had a chance to comment on. So this is a good time since we're sitting here talking about it, dude. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been shelved indefinitely. Why? Probably because they haven't been able to find a replacement for Jim Gunn. Jim Gunn. That's what they keep calling it. James Gunn. James Gunn. Okay. Being fired from the project for offensive tweets. Offensive tweets. That's become the norm now, right? All of a sudden now, people are pulling up tweets from like a bajillion years ago and... Anyway, he said some pretty offensive shit on Twitter. Granted, And I'm not going to take away how people feel about the way that he went about using his Twitter. The same way I don't go about it with anybody in their Twitter. Like if they've got issues with people in the way they are, you're free to be offended and upset about anything you want. Okay? That's where we live. We live in America. You can feel that way. Unfortunately, I don't have to give a shit if you're offended by it or if it upsets you. I post something on Twitter. It's on Twitter on my page. You don't like it. You don't have to like it. You could be upset with it if you'd like. That's your decision. I don't have to fucking do anything about that at all. Now, most of you will say, well, of course you do, because then situations like this happen with James Gunn, right? He didn't care at the time when he tweeted it, but then later down the line, Disney found it, got a hold of it, somehow, mysteriously, was sent these tweets, and their reaction was, we don't want him attached to the project anymore, so they fired him. So the end result of his tweets was that he lost his job. So you say to yourself, did that really teach him a lesson? He lost his job. Do you really think he's at home going, man, if only I hadn't tweeted those tweets, I'd still have a job? You really think that? No, he probably thinks what the rest of us fucking thought is, all right, well, good luck replacing me. Which, for the record, they didn't. That's how good he was, what he was doing. Who's going to replace him? Who's going to give Guardians of the Galaxy that same feel it had for the first two films? Nobody. That was a James Gunn special. That's why it's shelved. Because they can't, especially with as full as their plate is, with coming up with a whole new MCU phase. Now that all their old classics are going to be gone, they have to figure out a whole new way to keep people interested in this, and this is not the way to do it. So they'd rather just shelve it than shove something that was once good down their throat that is now bad. So who did it really hurt here? Did it hurt James Gunn? No, he's going to find work. He's going to be all right. Did it hurt the Disney franchise of Guardians of the Galaxy? Absolutely. If you're a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, it's it for you. It's over for you now. It's done. You're not going to get the third one to close it out. You'll get some closure, and hopefully in Avengers 4, hopefully there'll be some closure there. Hopefully they didn't film that to leave something open for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But other than that, that's it. Done. It's done. And this is becoming the trend now all of a sudden. People are, oh, he said something offensive. He needs to be handled now. Fuck you, dude. I said something that you were offended by. That's your fucking problem. It's not my fucking problem. All right. Speaking of which, let's divulge into this real quick. There's something that I have in my notes here. For a second, I was thinking of not really going down this route, but since we're on this topic, it's really got me thinking. It's got my juices going right now, so I might as well get this out of the way. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one listening to this show. What shirt are you wearing? It doesn't matter. It's trash. It's a terrible shirt. You should tear it off right now and be ashamed of yourself. You need to go buy my shirt, AJ Orsini's shirt, the official Orsini's Uncensored Mind t-shirt. How can you get this shirt? I'm glad you asked, you big dummy. All you need to do is go to prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM and buy the shirt. It's gray with a good logo on it. It's a beautiful thing. You need to buy it for yourself and your family and your friends. Stocking stuffers, under the tree. I don't care what you do. You can wash your car with it. You can use it as a bookmark. It's a dumb bookmark, but you can use it as a bookmark. I don't care what you do with it. If you're Spanish, you can tear it to pieces and clean your house with it like you always do with those other rags. Maybe you could update your stuff. I don't care what you do it for. Buy the shirt. prowrestlingtees.com/AJOUM. When I did episode 1, I laid down the law, rules, and regulations here of Orsini's Uncensored Mind. We did that. Okay? That was a long time ago, but those were the rules and regulations at the time. All right? And there was one set of rules I did not mention that I've kind of abided by on a personal level. I didn't mention it on the show, but on a personal level, I've been trying to abide by this rule myself. Okay? And the rule is I have 3 topics. 3 topics in particular that you will never, ever hear me talk about on this show. And I'm going to explain why you'll never hear about them on my show after I give you the 3 topics. Okay? So the 3 topics, the 3 things you will never hear discussed on this show. Okay? 1, politics. I don't give a fuck. That's why you're not going to hear it on the show. I don't care. You're not going to come on this show and hear any Trump jokes. You're not going to come on this show and hear any Anthony Weiner comments. You're not going to come on this show and hear any Hillary Clinton rhetoric. As a matter of fact, you're not going to hear any Nike or Colin Kaepernick discussions either. You're not going to hear those discussions here on the show. Why would I need to discuss them on the show? All you need to do is open your laptop and go to literally any page anywhere on the planet, and you'll hear those conversations over and 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 over. I'm sick to death of the conversation about things like Colin Kaepernick because it's a very easy, simple cut situation to discuss. He's doing A for B reason. If you don't understand A and B, there's no conversation to have. If I'm doing something and I tell you exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and your response is to repeat it back to me in a different way, then there's no need to have a conversation with this person. If I tell you that I want to make spaghetti and meatballs with marinara sauce, and you tell me, so I'm going to make the spaghetti, and I'm putting marinara sauce in here, and I'm putting it in there because I like the taste of marinara sauce. And the person responds back saying that your marinara sauce is a disrespect to the Alfredo cheese that I'm trying to put into this pasta. We're not having the same fucking conversation. Where did Alfredo cheese come from? That's random. We're talking about marinara here. It's a very simple discussion. That's why I feel it's almost too easy a discussion to have. That's why I leave it to social media. Same thing with the politics. Trump. I don't have any different opinions about Trump that isn't already explained 1,000 times all over the internet and on TV shows. And I don't like him. I never liked him. But to be fair, I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him. Because I thought to myself, if this fuckhead could get voted as president, it will validate everything that I have ever said about politics and government, and it will validate literally everything. This guy, who's never held a political office in his life, can go from the CEO and boardroom of Trump Towers to the White House for no other reason other than the fact that a certain group of people tend to like him. No real political reason. No, nothing politics related. They just like him. Because that's what you always hear. It's not about his political stance. It was always, well, he tells it like it is. Or he's going to look out for us. All opinions, no facts. But there were enough of them to get him elected in as president. And I said publicly, if he wins the Republican vote, he's going to be president. And sure enough, there it was. He became president. So that's where we are. So I don't feel the need to have that conversation, to be honest with you. Because it's something, once again, that hasn't been said by 1,000 people 1,000 times. So politics, no good. I don't care. Okay? I don't care about politics. That's not going to happen. Okay? The second topic, we dabbled a little bit in that just now, is racism. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that. I've already mentioned my credentials. I'm multiracial. I have ethnicities all over the place in my family. Italian, Puerto Rican, Chinese, black. I'm all over the place. I have experienced my fair share. You know, it's funny. Now that I'm thinking that, because I've been asked that before. I said, do you not talk about racism because it's a hurtful thing for you and it brings back too many negative memories? No, that's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, and this is why I tend to stay out of conversations like this, is because I am, by all intents and purposes, the son of a black man. My dad is black. Like black. But I've never really been considered, if you look at me, you don't see a black man. So I've never been called the N-word or ever had trouble getting a cab or be judged less than because of my blackness. I've never experienced that. Because if you look at me, you don't see that. I am of that ancestry, but you don't see it. You know, racism, you can only really be racist to what you see. And they don't. But people look at me, they don't see a black man. So no, I never got nigger or anything like that. Okay, I'm Italian, but when you look at me, you don't see Italian. Okay, so I never got the Guido or the wow, none of that stuff. I never got anything Italian. No racism toward me on my Italian history. Now, Hispanic, Puerto Rican. Some people do say that I look somewhat Puerto Rican. I know the older people do because they'll automatically start talking to me in Spanish, and I don't know Spanish. So they'll say, blah, 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 blah. And I say, I don't really speak Spanish. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, you look Spanish. That's because I am. I just don't speak it. And for the record, for those of you Spanish speaking out there listening to this, it's a dying language. It really is. There's so many generations of people from Puerto Rico and from other Spanish speaking countries that don't know the fucking language. Unless you live in those countries and you hear it on a daily basis, then you don't really know it. Here in the States, where it's mixed culturally, those languages are not spoken a whole lot. I know a lot of people who are Hispanic who have no fucking clue how to speak Spanish or even how to get by. You know, baño for bathroom, hola is hi. We're talking about the bare minimum here. Okay? So I got like a little bit for Spanish. You know, people would give me some trouble, but that was normally from other Puerto Ricans. I was raised in a predominantly Spanish neighborhoods and Spanish community, so the bullshit that I would get would be from Puerto Ricans because I was mixed. You know, Chino. You know, like I would be. What's that, Moreno, or like, you know, I'll get like a bunch of mulatto. You know, people will call me mulatto, stuff like that. Like, I get a lot of that, but never, like, racism to the point where, like, I'm a piece of shit because I'm mixed. They would just bust my balls about it. The one race that I did experience some negativity with is the Asian part, the Chinese. For some oddball reason, that's the one. That's the trigger for people. Because when you look at me, you don't see black, you don't see Italian. A few might see Asian. A few might see Hispanic. Everybody sees Asian. That's the one, like, when you look at me, you go, okay, yeah, that guy has clearly got some form of Asian. I got called everything in the book. Korean, fucking, for some reason, Alaskan people think is a race. I think I've said this before about Alaskan. Hawaiian. People think I was Hawaiian. Polynesian. I've been considered a Samoan at some point for some reason. I think it's the stockiness. That's why, the Samoan thing. But I wasn't always stocky. And I don't plan to always be stocky, so hopefully that goes away. But Chinese is the one where I felt a lot of pressure from. You know, oh, he's a terrible driver. He's super good at math, which I am super good at math, but I'm not a terrible driver. I'm an excellent driver. I have an excellent record, so fuck you. But no, all the different stereotypes with that shit. Do I know the language? It was the same thing. You know, with Spanish, people speak to me in Spanish, assuming I know Spanish. Chinese people would do the same. They'd see me and just start talking in Chinese, assuming that I knew Chinese, but I don't. So I barely speak English, folks. You guys hear me all the time. My English sometimes is no good, you know. So imagine me learning these other languages. It's just not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. So politics, no. Racism, no. I know I'm dabbling in those topics now, but this is the reason why I don't, because these are short conversations. It's not something I can really sink my teeth into and indulge. The third one, however, is something that I've been able to sink my teeth into and indulge. I just don't talk about it because feelings get hurt. This goes back to the offensive shit. Okay? The third topic you will never fucking hear me talk about on this show, and for good reason. The only time I may talk about it is if it becomes an actual topic and it's up for debate and I can get some people in here to talk about this. Other than that, it will remain off of the menu, and that's religion. I don't do religion. I dislike religion greatly. For those of you listening right now who are very religious, I want you to hear these words clearly, and I want you to understand my plight. Don't just hear me say, I don't like religion, and automatically cast me off. Give me a chance to explain the situation, okay? Have an open mind about this shit, okay? I don't like religion. When I was a kid, it was forced down my fucking throat. And I did not like it. But here's the deal. After a while, as I got older, my mom, who was a big proponent of trying to get me involved with the religious stuff, and eventually my dad too, My dad tried to on a different set. My mother grew up Jehovah's Witness. My dad grew up, I think he's just your average run-of-the-mill Christian. And they forced religion when I was a kid. They took me to all the meetings against my will. I'm a kid, so everything's against my will. But they took me to the meetings. They took me on the field service stuff, assemblies. I went to all these different things, right? That's why I tell people, it's funny because people don't think so, but I've read the entire Bible twice. That's how many times I went to these things and got so bored that I would just look in the book and look for things to do because it was boring to me. Now, my recollection of those books that I read, the Bible, a little shaky now. It's been 20 to 25 years since I read it. So, I don't have a lot of it still memorized. But back in the day, I did. I had a very good working knowledge of the Bible. So when I asked questions and didn't get answers, the ball started rolling on this whole thing. And then once I started seeing people talk the talk, but not walk the walk or live the life, I fell off completely. Now, when I was a kid, that manifested in anger. I hated religion and I hated people who followed religion. I would hate them. I would think they're the dumbest people in the world. Why would you believe this bullshit? It's horseshit. There's no evidence to it. I was kind of a cocky little shit when it came to this. This was a hot button thing for me. It would trigger me to no fucking end. I would debate anybody, any day, anywhere on any of this shit back in the day when I had a working knowledge. And eventually I learned something. This is later in life, late teens, almost 20s. When I learned that people need this shit. You need this shit to live, to function, to exist. You guys need this shit. So it became, someone along the line finally gave me the description, the exact description that I needed to continue on and to live and to retire this life of going against religion. And that is the faith base. It's a faith-based system. Even if it's not real, even if they can sit there logically and say, maybe this doesn't make any sense. The faith of it, to have that faith, that fulfillment, it's what helps. It's what helps them. And over time, I've expounded upon that, and I've come to realize how important a role religion really does play in the life of many people, not only in this country, but around the world. Around the world, religion is pretty much a dominant factor. Here, a little less, but it's still important to a lot of people. That church on Sunday is important for people. There's a clarity to it. There's a release to it. It's a cleansing, almost like. It's like a rinsing your palate of all the goofy shit you've been doing. People need that. So, over time, I have softened. And I don't sit here and ridicule anybody. As a matter of fact, I go the other way. I say, if religion is that big of a deal to you, and it's something you grasp onto, and it's very important to you, I say continue. Do your thing. If it makes you happy, if it brings your family together, if it solves problems for you, and you know, because most people, like for instance, who are drug abusers or suffered from physical violence or whatever the case may be, when they lean on that, it really helps them and it gets them through the day and it makes them feel better about themselves. If that's the case, man, go for it, man. Whatever helps. I'm not going to ridicule anybody anymore for anything. If you have a religion or a religion-based life and that's how you live, brother and sisters, do your thing, man. I am no longer against it. You guys can do whatever you want. However, I'm not for it. I do not like it, nor do I want it in my life. So please, if you're one of those religious people and it's a big part of your life, understand that it's a big part of your life. It's not a part of mine, nor will it ever be a part of mine. So you need to stop, okay, with the forcing it down people's throat, more importantly, mine, okay? When you say things like pray for me, you're blessed, all these different things, they're little things, so I can kind of sidestep them. But when I have a problem and the first thing people says, well, you know, maybe if you came to church with me, I'm not. No, you should have known that was a no before it exited your lips. That is not happening. You can have your faith, you can have your religion, just have it for yourself. You don't need to push it and shove it onto other people. Live your life. Do your thing. And stop worrying about everybody else. That's why I don't have that discussion, especially here on the show. Because the minute it starts getting thrown up, I have to throw it right back down. I'm sorry. I'm not big on it at all. Okay? So those are the 3 rules, or those are the 3 topics that I refuse to talk about here on the show. If that should change, if something comes up that is just so huge and it requires me to go back on this so I can speak on it and get it off my chest, then I will. But I'm just giving you guys an indication of the 3 topics that I will purposely be trying to avoid. Okay? So, having said that, once again, politics. Okay? Politics, racism, religion. Those are the 3. If you guys have any comments that you'd like to throw in at this point about that, you're free to. You're free to discuss anything you like. I'm not going to stop you guys from having those thoughts and opinions. Please share them. You know that I want to hear them. So please do share. Share as much as you can. Share all of the time. Share with me.
And now back to Action News 5. Our top story tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Yes, our top news story of the evening. We're back to the WWE. Back to the WWE. We have to go back because you guys, and I'm going to be talking directly to you, because I've been defending your punk asses for forever. But now the chickens have come home to roost. You guys are fucked up royally. And it's time someone took your feet to the fucking fire. And I guess it's going to be me, because I have been defending you. I have defended every fucking step of the way. If you go back to every single episode since the announcement of Evolution, I have been defending this company every step of the fucking way. I love the fact that they have an all-women's pay-per-view coming up. I love the fact that it got people engaged in conversation. I love the fact that people are bringing up all the other women's shows to counteract it, to let them know, hey, this has been done before. Guys, check it out. I love the fact that this whole thing is happening. I loved the fact that Alexa Bliss was taking on Trish Stratus. I loved the fact that there were 4 championship matches taking place, plus the finals of the Mae Young Classic. I've gotten a chance to see the first 2 episodes of the Mae Young Classic. I'm thoroughly impressed. Not all the matches were that great, but for the ones that were, they were super, super good. Right now, Killer Kelly and Miko are the top. That's going to be tough to fucking beat. That was a dope-ass match. Dope. And now Miko's got Mercedes Martinez in the next round. That's going to be even doper. Okay? Everything seemed to be going up, 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 up. And then it started to go down, down, down. Lita versus Mickie James. What the fuck? Why? I already spoke about that. That's disgusting. There was no need for that fucking match at all. They've been releasing information little by little, leaks here and there. The Bellas are going to have a high-profile situation on this card. Why? Why? We've got divas coming back talking all kinds of shit. Beth Phoenix, which I'm not against Beth Phoenix doing commentary, but you know she's got the itch. You know she's going to gear up for this fucking pay-per-view. Okay? I have had problem after problem coming up with me on this show, and I'm trying really hard. I bought tickets. I broke my WWE streak. I'm going to Evolution. I bought them ASAP. I didn't waste any time. I bought my tickets to show support, and I want to go, and I want to be entertained. Okay? And all of this was all based on the premise, in my opinion, based on the evidence given to me, that this was all meant to be a historical situation, that the WWE is going out of its way to make a very long-term wrong a current right. That we're going to right the ship on this and finally treat the women with some fucking respect. Okay, that's what I thought all of this was going to be about. And then Monday Night Raw took place. And on Monday Night Raw, they announced that on November the 2nd, the WWE will be heading back to Saudi Arabia, in which the WWE Universal Championship will be defended in a triple threat match with Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Braun Strowman, along with a tournament, a WWE World Cup to determine the quote-unquote best in the world. at Saudi Arabia. All that doesn't bother me. What bothered me, and I'm sure it bothered all of you, if you didn't put it together, I'll hook you up with that knowledge right now. The show itself we knew was coming, right? We knew that we're going to go back to Saudi Arabia. They signed a multi-year deal. They're going to be doing shows there a few times. November 2nd is the problem. You dirty, slimy, just disgusting motherfuckers were really trying to get away with some ridiculous shit. So you mean to tell me it's just a fucking coincidence? It's a happening. It's a coincidence. This shit happens. It was just so random we didn't even realize that Evolution, an all women's pay-per-view, is taking place on October 28th. And 5 days later, they're going to perform in a country that women are not allowed to perform in Saudi Arabia. And you're expecting me to just overlook these dates and how they coexist? Because I said on the last show, what was the point of announcing the Evolution show so early in advance, knowing you had 2 mega shows coming up between the announcement and the actual Evolution pay-per-view? What was the point of all that? You should have just waited until after at least Hell in a Cell. That was the way I explained it last week. But all has been revealed. Now we know why they couldn't wait to jerk that off. Why they couldn't wait to get that information out there so you could simmer on this all-women's pay-per-view for about, 2 months, a month? Then they dropped this Saudi Arabia bomb on you. Now, for those of you who are listening to my show recently for the first time, way back around WrestleMania time, I did a show, and we were talking about the Saudi Arabia thing and the relationship between that country and women. Okay? And there was a reason that the women performers were not allowed to go over there, because they don't allow women to do this shit over there. It's a different country, a different set of rules. WWE is a business. They got to make money. Those are the rules in which you have to follow to be in the country. We went over this already. If you guys want to take a look at it again, you can go back and find the episode for that week, and then you'll hear the discussion. But the end result of that last show is that the women weren't allowed to go. So everyone went on the internet and shit a chicken, right? No one cared about Saudi Arabia problems before that show, and now everyone seemed to care. They didn't care when women were getting their labias cut off. They didn't care when women were getting hung in the streets or stoned to death because of their beliefs or standing up against those rules. No one gave a fuck. But Alexa Bliss can't wrestle Charlotte in Saudi Arabia, so all of a sudden now there's a problem. Okay? That was the discussion that took place, basically the tempo of the conversation from before. So now we're heading back to Saudi Arabia. Okay? Actually, before we head back, let's go back to the previous situation. The women weren't allowed to go to Saudi Arabia. Right? So there was this big fuss. Everyone threw this big fit. So the women got paid for the show. They got a cut of the Saudi Arabia money. But none of them, not only did they not work, they weren't there. Which I thought was weird, because even if women were booked on the show, 20 women wouldn't have been booked on that show. There would have been a few matches, maybe. Tag match, perhaps. Maybe a 6-woman tag at best. Was that 6 women? Like 20 got paid. They paid all the women. Renee Young got paid, and she didn't do anything. No one did anything. Now, people accepted it as some kind of reparation. I still don't agree to that. I still, to this day, I understand that it's fucked up that they couldn't perform, but you didn't perform. What are you getting paid for? You're an employee of the company. We couldn't use you on this one show. It's not that big a deal. That's the way that I felt. A lot of other people felt different. That's fine. They paid. Everybody got quiet after they paid. They paid. They tried to make it right. Fine. Right? This time around, I guess Vince figured, if I'm going to pay for these women to do, if I'm going to Saudi Arabia and I'm going to have to pay these women going to have to work for that goddamn money. Not like last time when they got that freebie. No, y'all going to have to put in some work. So now the pay-per-view makes absolute fucking sense. Absolute fucking sense. When they announced it, there were 3 people in the ring. Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Vince McMahon. I just said this shit a few weeks ago. The one person who should have been making that announcement was Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon for years was the one guy who didn't want anything to do with women's wrestling, at least not to this level, where it's competitive. It's getting his own fucking show. It's main eventing shows. He never had any interest in that. And I just had a takeaway. I had an assumption that by Vince not speaking that much during that announcement, that maybe there was a piece of him that still didn't want to do that, but he was, holding out hope that maybe Triple H and stuff was right, that he was just kind of still holding on to the old guard, and he was, we'll give it a shot. I thought that perhaps he was on board. He just wasn't really that enthusiastic at the time. Now with this announcement, I know for a fucking fact he gives zero shits about this fucking pay-per-view and wherever the women stand. Now I know for a certainty he does not care. He doesn't care. He didn't promote the show right. He's not booking the show right. And now we're finding out 5 days after the most historic women's wrestling day in history, he's going to follow it with a show in Saudi Arabia, a show where women are banned to perform in a country right now that is in the process of putting a woman to death for going against those exact values. Fuck off. That is an asshole move to the max. And this is coming from someone who does not care if they go to Saudi Arabia. You can go to Saudi Arabia as far as I don't give a shit. You're a businessman. You got to make business deals. You have to make money. Saudi Arabia should not be off your list. And that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is you only created this, and I don't know this for a fact. This is me just spitting off the top of my mind, but that's the name of the show. Orsini's Uncensored Mind. And my uncensored fucking thought is you don't give a fuck about this show. You've given zero promotion to it. You've given it zero fucking thought. I know things have to play out. We still need a women's final, which, by the way, that tournament was already filmed. So we know technically who that final is going to be already. But you needed a final. You needed a UK title champion. We just got that settled. So there were things, obviously, that got the ball rolling. But you've paid zero attention to it. I've seen one ad for Evolution during the course of 2 Raws, 2 SmackDowns over the course of the last 2 weeks. I have seen 17 Super Show ads. A show that nobody gives a fuck about, by the way. It's all fucking rematches. 6-man tag, Shield and Dogs of War. All right? Joe and Styles, we just saw that shit literally on fucking Sunday. Charlotte and Becky, we just saw on fucking Sunday. It's a fucking house show. The only reason it's getting attention is because it's a big building and it's got Triple H versus The Undertaker, which, for the record, is horseshit. I don't want Triple H and The Undertaker. That lasting image of Hell in a Cell, that end of an era shit, that's the end. The bullshit you're about to give me is unwanted and, quite frankly, unneeded. Even if you had The Undertaker and you had Triple H on the card, I don't have a problem with that. I don't need them fighting each other. Saudi Arabia was perfect. Triple H and John Cena was a requested match, so I get that. Taker fought Rusev in a casket match. That's the type of shit I want to see at the Super Show. Put these new guys over. Stop living in the fucking past. I grew up a huge Undertaker fan. I grew up a huge Triple H fan. But I don't need to see these fucking guys anymore. I need to see the next crop of guys look like stars. Do that. I've heard shit about this Super Show other than the fact that Triple H and Taker are fighting each other, and now that might drag Shawn Michaels out of retirement, and now Kane, for some oddball reason, the mayor of Knox County, is heading to fucking Australia to be in the Undertaker's corner. It's craziness. It's craziness. You don't give a fuck about this show. That was an assumption that I was making. Just last week, I was making that assumption. Now it's a fact. Now it's a fact. You cannot look me in the fucking face and tell me that they give 2 shits about the women in this company, knowing what they were about to fucking do. Now it all makes sense. Even deeper, if you look really deeper into the Evolution situation, now it makes even more sense. The throwing a pay-per-view just before a trip to Saudi Arabia, that would be suicide unless the people performing on that pay-per-view aren't heading to Saudi Arabia. So it's a way to get you to pay more attention to the WWE so that when they get to Saudi Arabia, it'll just transition right over. And I heard a bunch of people say, oh, it's fucked up that they're doing this. I hope they don't air any Saudi Arabia commercials during Evolution. Yes, they will, because it's natural for them. It's the next big show. So they have to advertise it, especially 5 days before. That's going to be their biggest audience during that entire month is Evolution. Got to promote it. Got to promote it. Fucked up, right? Yeah, it's fucked up. But that's what they're going to do because that's business. That's business. It's what it is. Even the location of Evolution now completely makes sense because the biggest, safest hub and the quickest hub to get to Saudi Arabia from the States is New York. Their facilities where all their equipment and everything is in Connecticut. So to throw the pay-per-view 5 days before Saudi Arabia in New York, that makes absolute great sense. Now all of it makes sense because I thought to myself, why would they do an all-women's pay-per-view here in New York? Here in New York. And then not do it in Barclay or Madison Square Garden. Because if the whole idea is we're going to make this legit, we're going to make this right, you know what I mean? Like we're going to make this a big deal. The Garden or Barclay, that would have made Evolution a big deal. You know why they chose Nassau Coliseum? Cheap. It's cheaper. They were able to get to the New York area where they needed to be to fly their talent out without cost or expenses. They're driving their materials from Connecticut. That's quick, especially even to Long Island. Stanford's not far from Long Island. It's not. I used to make that drive all the time. It's nice and easy. It's cheap. It's the least expensive of the three buildings. It's a big enough building to make it look like a spectacle and not like a real event, even though it's the smaller of the three buildings. Economically, this made sense. Is it the ideal place to run a women's wrestling show? No, it's not. New York is not exactly a hotbed for women's wrestling. It really isn't. You know, there are a lot of other places. More importantly, I think California would have actually been a better place to run an all-female wrestling pay-per-view. But flying from California to Saudi Arabia, that would have been crazy. New York was the only option. Considering what they had up their sleeve, now I know. Because even I'm in New York, and I'm wondering, why the fuck is this show here? WrestleMania is going to be here. We just had SummerSlam here. Why the fuck is Evolution here? Now I know. Now we know. It's all been revealed. The magician has had the playing cards fall right out of his sleeve here. They really should. I was gonna say they really should have held off on the Saudi Arabia thing. But you know what? It wouldn't have mattered if it was scheduled November 2nd. It didn't matter when they announced it. It doesn't really matter. And now they're already advertising for it. The triple threat match that I just mentioned for you guys. They're already advertising for it. This is a thing. This is happening. So that's our top news story. I mean, WWE is just full of shit on this. I've been defending them and defending them and defending them, and I could not defend them on this. I could not defend them on this. I had to say something about this because it was just irking me and pissing me off because it's just fucked up. It's just fucked up. And listen, I'm no feminist, okay? I don't have a vagina. I got no dog in the fucking race, okay? But people are fucking people. And I know a lot of women's wrestlers, and I know a lot of male wrestlers. And I can tell you this. The women's wrestlers go through a lot of shit. I have so much fucking respect for a female wrestler in this industry, you have no fucking clue. Because they go through the shit guys just don't even think about. And to finally see that they're going to get their own stage on the big stage, and just to have it belittled and downplayed every fucking step of the way, which is everything they've had to deal with. I know for the women, it's probably just another day. This is what we deal with all the time. But it's just fucked up when you really think about it. How big a deal they made it. And then almost immediately just wiped their asses with it. Wiped their asses with it. This was an opportunity to send a message to your audience that this generation of women's wrestlers is the best ever and will continue to breed even greater generations down the line. And instead, all you have done is reminded them exactly why they've been downplayed in the first place. Not because they weren't talented, not because they weren't good, not because they couldn't perform on a high level. The only reason that they have been set back and pushed back is simply because one guy isn't a fan. That one guy negates millions of other fans, and it's fucked up, but it's reality. So I still have my ticket. I'm still going to Evolution, and I'm still going to push. But it's unfortunate that I had to get down to this. Very unfortunate. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for downloading. Thank you guys for sharing. And, of course, thank you guys for enjoying. I will see you guys next week.
At my house. Listen to my daddy show. Or see me